sewing machine out so you guys know what that means. We're going to be making something cute today. So today we're just going to be making this really cute summer crop top with these like cute bow ties in the top. And don't worry about my disgusting plaster. I cut a little bit of my finger off yesterday cutting some bread. So be safe kids, buy pre-sliced bread. So for this project you're just going to need some non-stretch woven fabric. I'm just using this really pretty brown because I have so many pattern skirts and nothing to go with them, so this is going to be like my new wardrobe staple. First of all, we're going to need to make the pattern, but don't worry, this is like the easiest pattern you're ever going to make, trust me. First up, we're going to make the front pattern. To do this, measure your bust circumference around the fullest part of your titties. Divide that measurement in half to get the front and the back. Add 1 inch of seam allowance to this measurement, and that's the width of your front panel done. That's literally it. So easy. So for example, my bust circumference is 34 inches. 34 divided by 2 is 17. I'm going to add 1 inch of seam allowance, so the width of my front panel is 18 inches. The length will just be whatever length you want your top to be, plus 1 inch of seam allowance. When measuring the length, make sure you're measuring over the fullest part of your bust, so you get enough bust coverage. I want my top to be cropped, so I'm making mine 10 inches long, but you can do whatever you like, girl. I want the back panel to be elasticated so it's super comfy to get on and off, and I don't have to worry about putting in a zipper or anything like that. Honestly, elasticating your clothes is like the ultimate cheat code. To make room for the elastication, I'm going to make the back panel double the width of the front. So take your bust circumference again, but this time don't half it. So my back panel is 34 inches. Add 1 inch of seam allowance to this measurement. So for example, the width of my back panel is 35 inches. The length of your back panel will just be the same as your front panel. Lastly, we need to figure out the straps. I want my straps to have this cute little bow detail at the top, so I'm going to make mine extra long so they can tie up. I'm just measuring how long I want my straps to be, making sure it's long enough to tie up. Add 1 inch of seam allowance to this measurement, and this is the length of your strap. Finally, measure how wide you want your straps to be, and times that by 2. Then add 1 inch of seam allowance. So I want my straps to be 1 inch wide, so I'm cutting mine 3 inches wide. I'm so happy I didn't run out of fabric. I was cutting it so close. Like, this is literally all of the scraps I have after cutting all that out. Okay, so we've cut out all our pieces. But I think that the straps would look better if they were a bit more angular, a bit more pointed. So I'm just going to cut off the little end so it's less square. So I'm going to start off with my straps, just getting them done, dusted, out of the way. And I'm literally just going to fold them in half and sew down that cute little edge. Now that we've got our family of worms sewn, I'm going to trim off the excess seam allowance. Once you've trimmed off all the excess of your little strap, you can get something kind of sharp like a pair of scissors and just kind of poke the end in, and then you just kind of push it through and the strap should turn through nicely. So mine just looks like this, a cute little strap. So just finished doing all the straps and they're looking fantastic, my baby little wormy worms. And now we're going to do the back, and I'm so excited because this is a new technique that I just learned and it's really fun. Okay, so to sew the back panel, I'm going to get my 2 panels and place them right sides together and sew down the top and the bottom seams. So like these long seams, I'm going to sew down them. So I've just turned my little tubular tube back panel right sides out, and I'm just going to iron it flat. Now we're going to sew on top of this back panel sandwich so we can insert the elastic. First up, using a fabric pen and some chalk or a ruler, draw some sewing guidelines big enough to fit your elastic. Make sure the lines are slightly further apart than your elastic so you have a bit of wiggle room. I'm using a 1/4 inch elastic, so I'm drawing my guidelines about 3/8 of an inch apart. Sew down these lines, trying to sew it as straight as possible. Make sure to use a matching thread as it will be shown on the outside of the top. If you're using a small elastic like I am, pop on a good movie and get comfy, cause it's going to take a while to sew all those rows. Okay, that took so goddamn long, but I'm finally finished all my lines and it's going to be worth it in the end. My lines aren't the straightest thing ever because apparently I can't draw a straight line to save my life, but it won't really be noticeable in the end. So now I'm just going to add all the little elastics into the casings and then we'll really see the top come together. Now we're going to cut the elastic to size. To figure out how long you need it to be, get your front measurement and remove about 4 inches for negative ease. So my front measurement without seam allowance was 17 inches, so I'm going to cut my elastics to be about 13 inches long. Cut enough elastics to fit into all your tunnels. I ended up running out of elastic, so I had to use a different colour, so make sure you have a lot of elastic on hand. This is an elastic hungry project if I've ever seen one. Attach a safety pin to one end of the elastic and use it to insert the wormies into the casings. Make sure it doesn't twist in the casings as you insert it. Then pin down either end of the elastic so it doesn't escape. I'm on to the last elastic. Okay, I finally finished putting in my elastics and I definitely recommend you use a thicker elastic than I did or bribe a small child to put it in for you because goddamn that took a long time, but it's definitely worth it. It's looking really nice. And now I'm just going to sew down the top and the bottom seams so the elastic doesn't escape because otherwise it will just like ping out, you know? Sandwich the ties in between the two front panels. You can measure from your side seam to where you want the straps to go, or you can just eyeball it using your eyeballs. I decided to measure because I want them to cover my bra strappies. Okay, I've pinned my two fronts together and I'm going to sew down the top and the bottom seams, making sure to sew through this bit of the strap but not like the pointy end of the strap, you know? So now you want to get your front panels and you want to keep them inside out and you literally want to like put your arm in there like you're stuffing a big old turkey and make sure it comes out the other end and then grab your back panel and grab that and like pull that through as well. So now I've got the back panel inside my two like front, if you can see I've got my back panel inside my two fronts and we're going to sew down one side. So it doesn't matter which side you pick, just pick one side and sew down it. Make sure you don't catch the little strapperoonies in the seam. You want to just sew the back and fronts. Okay, we've sewn down one of the sides and now we're going to turn it inside out. So I'm just going to like grab the side and just kind of like pull it through. So now you should have the back on one end and the front with the like two ties on the other. Okay, so there's heaps of ways you can finish this, but I'm just going to do it the lazy way. So I'm going to get the little like open bit and I'm going to grab the raw edges and just fold them in like a 1/2 inch. And then I'm just going to shove the back panel inside that and do a top stitch. Super simple. All that's left to do is attach the back straps to the back and then we'll cue the grand reveal.